Hey, Rich. Want to see a magic trick? Want to see me light a fuse in slow motion?
Uh-oh.
Hey, Joseph. How do you feel about IGN giving Joker 2 a 5?
Bro,
We left off with the eagle coming down and recognizing Pharisee number 1.
Pharisee.
Yeah.
Dude, you're not going to convince me that guy did not play a Pharisee at his local church.
Dude,
Oh, yeah,
bro,
for sure.
he would have killed it. He would have freaking killed it.
It's not on his
He's a good
IMDb.
actor.
I checked. And his name is like halfway to being. Farazan is his name.
Oh my god.
Farazan. His name is Tristan Gravel. He's quite a handsome gentleman. I've seen the first 20 minutes of this already on accident because I forgot we weren't supposed to watch this one.
My man.
I'm so glad I messaged
Pre-watcher, pre-watcher.
Can we just talk about Elrond and his hair? Like, I love it. The ring of power. So tempting. Oh, there's your silent and
I was gonna say,
loudness.
there it is, Tim. I'm sorry, bro. I just don't like her right now. She.
Commander, I must.
Well, yeah, she's.
Your opinion on the matter has been heard.
Elrond.
That was a hard roll. Elrond.
Nah, bro. I can't lie. Like, I get so tired whenever I watch these, bro. Cause it's gonna be the same thing every time. I don't know how to control my power. But then saying all this like little half-wise stuff like Gandalf.
I do admit though, I think the actor does a really good job with what he's given. I'm still,
Oh no, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
invested. I'm still invested to see where this is gonna go, but yeah, I don't need another whole season of him just being like, oh, what am I doing? I don't know. Please, just make that only last for another episode or two.
See, man, this finna piss me off. This is finna piss me off so bad, bro. He's been on screen for like 3 minutes.
He's so helpless. Come
Oh
on,
my
Gandalf.
god. Dude lost the Harfoots and now the map. Both his fault, by the way.
Oh yeah, he like winded them up in a twister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually a really cool ability, but I was like, bro, I swear, if you lose them, and then he loses them.
Somehow he threw them out of yelling distance and they survived.
Yeah, they were yeeting. They
Yes.
were at killing distance, the way they flew off.
Bro got the 1991 troll hair.
Either we're coming with you, or I will turn you in myself this moment. Water thief.
Turned him
You're about
into
to
who?
meet the goon. If we put your brains in a vulture, it'll fly backwards.
RIP. I gotta use that one.
You guys think that other wizard, Saruman?
They're framing him up like
But
he
here's my... That's what my
Literally, this guy.
confusion
This guy.
is about Saruman is... Then that would mean that Gandalf had to have known for all that time till Lord of the Rings to know that he was bad. There's no way he would have known, right? He wouldn't have known.
Not necessarily, because they're looking for him. So the presumption is that when they find him, they're not going to kill him. They're going to befriend him and use him instead.
They're gonna riz him up.
Yeah.
To be honest, so I'd be like, why do the Harfoots even matter at this point? You see what I'm saying? Like,
You should not be wicked.
I think just leverage still.
oh, okay. Okay.
Back in the Withy window, folk used to call me Bombadil. Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, that's a big one. Tom Bombadil's a big one to drop.
Newcomers.
Like, so if I eat this, does that mean the map is gone? Or
I'm the man.
I am the man.
the map? I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map.
Fear not. Dead men are no threat.
Whenever somebody start talking that,
Dead.
they the first to go, bruh. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
Oh,
See,
jeez.
that would have been me. I was finna say, like, I would be walking around with my sword unsheathed the whole time, bro.
Oh, it wouldn't cut a chain.
Hey, what they always say, the black man's always first to go.
That's why there were no black elves in the trilogy, because they all die in this show.
Dang. They gotta give us context.
Facts.
According to law, Only the blades with which they were buried will return such creatures to rest.
Weren't there like 10 more of those guys? And they just killed like only 3 or 4.
Yeah. But we're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about
Never seen that.
I hate when that stuff happens. Oh my! It just takes away the tension for me.
It's interesting to me that they didn't like talk or communicate, where in Return of the King they're referred to as thieves and traitors and murderers, but they still have open dialogue with Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli. In this, they're just like,
They're zombies. They're literally Black Ops zombies.
like they were still like not great people,
You will weather this.
but that didn't reduce them completely away from civil discourse.
Yeah.
Well, it might be because
the designs-
they were just ghosts. These had actual like physical bodies.
Sorry,
I
Joseph,
think.
did you just say that's because they're Zionists? What did,
No.
what did I hear you say?
I was saying I think the design.
Oh,
of
the
them are
design.
cool. Like
Yeah.
design,
Yeah, the
not
design was
Zion.
cool.
Oh, they're Zionists.
They're Zionists.
I fell asleep by the fire. I should have put it out, but then I was cold.
Oh, she capping.
We all do
Dig
foolish
deeper.
things sometimes, especially moments
deeper.
of hopelessness.
Dig deeper. Nice. Okay, cool. We're getting to this point. Good.
Yep.
Astrid, what is this?
So glad we're not like waiting 3 episodes for this reveal.
That was fire. I was gonna say that.
Good.
I was like, bro, like I feel like she's just leading them to die, but he caught that.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did not expect that.
Hey, yo, that's crazy.
Oh, this is like King Kong, Peter Jackson.
Oh, nah. What?
A rider sighted. Big fuck. Coming this way.
Big it's coming this way. The accent did not do that line any favors, man.
We got
No,
a
it did
big,
not.
Big coming this way.
You know why we wear these masks. Defy the dark wizard, and when we return with him, you will find out for yourselves.
It would be very painful for you.
for you.
Yo, shout out to Tom Hardy, bro.
We heard drums.
We heard some sick beats.
Yo, it sounded like Kanye was doing another Sunday morning service.
I saw a post online today of like, all right, everyone, Lord of the Rings is PG-13, so it gets 1 F-bomb. Where are you going to put it? And someone photoshopped those like pixel 8-bit sunglasses onto Aragorn's face and just had him saying the beacons are f***ing lit.
Oh.
Holy
Jeez.
God!
Dude, all these girls are just getting knocked the crap out.
Ask her to speak.
These trees talk a lot faster than they did in the 2 towers.
Astrid! Astrid!
GG.
I can't
Yeah, no booty for you, sir.
look at you.
Not on this day.
Come with me if you wish.
I have promises of my own to keep.
Thank God, okay. So we're not gonna have this. Good.
Then my
They're in a
plan.
good place.
They exploded like they were made of gas.
He knows. He knows, dog. Like, bro. She don't care about nothing and nobody, bro. He knows his friend is gone.
Nice. Cool. I'm glad
That's fire.
we're gonna get them.
That's a fire intro.
What the frick is this song?
Like Toy Story ass and then, bro.
I like what is This was definitely my least favorite episode. I'm not saying it was terrible. I feel like this episode kind of reminded me of all the things that I was talking about that were good things about the first 3 episodes. The pacing was just a little off, I felt like, with this one. And it felt a little kind of filler, to be honest. And now we're halfway through. There's only 4 episodes left, which I'm glad there's still so much that they can do in 4 hours. Yeah, I wouldn't say like it was a bad episode, but it's just not my favorite. Jump scares too, I was getting kind of annoyed with that.
Yeah.
It got to a point where, okay, we're gonna keep on doing this.
Yes.
Okay, we have some zombies here. That's I don't mind that. I don't know if that's like super against the lore in that creative attempt. I'm not gonna act like I know. I don't. It was cool seeing the Ents. I believe that's how they're pronounced. I found that to be the best part.
Episode was also like really dark. It's hard to see some of
Yeah.
some of what was going on here.
It was.
It was like GOT season 8 dark.
I think like it was the pacing for me, and sometimes what can help break that up is character dynamics like Durin and his wife and the father and them trying to figure out their kingdom while also Sauron is trying to figure out how else he can get away with his mission.
So many characters. Although dropping Tom Bombadil's a pretty big one. Their origins are kind of sort of up for debate, but they seem to be loosely based off of actual like folklore characters.
I guess I just don't feel that presence from him. I think the actor's doing a good job with what he's given. I'm just not getting this he's like God vibe or he's the ultimate wizard. I'll just say that. He's the ultimate wizard. And I think it's honestly with how they're filming him and how they're displaying him with the magic where it's like, cool, he can make the fire go a little bit brighter and he can turn a piece of paper to bread. It's cool and it looks like the production on this is actually great. Like anybody who has any issue with the production, they're idiots. They are pouring the money into this show. It just sometimes I wish they could pour a little bit more common sense with certain
common sense money
elements in the story. Common sense, the whole zombie thing. I feel like I know it's such a little thing. Get over it, Joseph. But to me, that kind of stuff irks me.
Wait, what about
it just
the
removes
zombies
tension. It felt like such an easy. Number one, it felt like such an easy. We have to kill them with the swords that they died with. Like they just ran in the lore. Like he just.
He just knows the lore. Well, I mean,
yeah,
it's not. I don't.
Like number one, why didn't you say that before, man?
Like,
why did you not say that earlier?
Let's be a little fair here. It's not unfeasible that at least one of those elves would know how to kill these things because elves are old as f***. Like they've been around a long time to take in a lot of knowledge and a lot of lore about the world they inhabit.
No, that makes sense, but it took them that long for someone to realize. They were just standing there like a bunch of idiots with like in their hands. And it's like
maybe only certain zombies can be killed by the weapons.
When someone already knew the answer, basically.
Yeah, to me that stuff, it's a little frustrating.
This episode felt to me like like an awkward middle child. Where it's like, you guys mentioned like filler, right? It felt like a filler episode. And it felt like to me, like it's very much a transitional episode where there were things that they needed to set up or certain things that they need to kind of get out of the way. And this was just the episode that they had to do it in. I'd wondered whether or not, especially after the past the previous 3 episodes, whether or not they were going to go back to doing the kind of thing that they did in season 1, which is where they would have a couple of episodes following like these certain storylines, and then they would have one episode that's like all of the, I won't necessarily say like B storylines, but all the storylines that like you kind of don't necessarily care the most about, even though there are important things happening in them. I'll speak for myself. All the things I care about the least were happening in this episode.
I've been listening to you guys as best I can, but at the same time I'm reading about like what all these different people think Tom Bombadil is. Like one of them is that he's the polar opposite of Sauron. So much so that when Frodo meets him, he's able to put the ring on to no effect, plays with it, fiddles around with it, and can see Frodo when Frodo wears it. But he tells Frodo that he shouldn't wear it. And he comes up at the Council of Elrond as like, well, why doesn't Tom take the ring? And they basically decide, like, Tom is so old and so careless, he'd probably lose it. That is how opposite of Sauron he is. I am kind of interested in Galadriel's relationship with her ring because there is some storytelling utility to be gained from the rings serving their bearers well and not being constantly deceiving or deceitful. I think it's part of why in the Fellowship it is a temptation for her to take it from Frodo when he asks if she would, because she's familiar with how useful and how powerful they are. So, I mean, it makes sense for the rings to actually do some good before the Second Age ends and the Third Age begins.
I do appreciate that they are not wasting time for certain arcs, like the annoyed Theo being annoyed with Arondir because his mommy died. I'm glad we're moving forward.
I wish they just would have recast.
I wish they would have done that
recast
too.
2 other actors already, and one of them is covered in prosthetics and makeup. I mean, not enough you guys could tell right away that's someone different. I didn't watch season 1 again to catch up. I just watched the recaps that were before these episodes. Like, I didn't. So if you guys had a more fresh picture of it in your head than I do from like 23 months ago, I forgot. I forgot it was a different actor. I was like, this guy still got it.
No, I really dug the other performer. I mean, this guy's good too. I'm not going to say he's not good. I just really, really appreciate
this new performer has, as far as we've seen so far, not nearly as much scenery to chew as the first actor did. Not as much.
Definitely not.
He's set up in the next episode to do some scene chewing, so we'll see how it goes. Mm-hmm. It's funny how we have these weird parallel plot points of wizards with no names.
The Stranger, the Dark
Wizard. And the
Very
show's
original.
taking its sweet time telling us what their actual names are. One thing I do like is that when he finds sticks and uses them as like a catalyst for his magic, when it's the wrong stick or not the right staff, it just breaks under the weight of having to funnel or to channel that magic coming. It's not strong enough of a catalyst, so it keeps losing control. He needs something to like funnel it through because he's still trying to figure out how to wield it.
I guess before, because we're killing it, guys. We have 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
We are this is the best. I'm grateful for timers. We're definitely doing this.
Review bombing.
Let's do. Okay. Make a 3-hour countdown, please.
Yeah, we have another movie to talk about for review bombing too. It's happened again. Reagan. Is it Reagan?
Oh,
it was
yeah.
It was like anti-review bombed, where critics were like, "This is not a very good movie." Conservative Christians put it at 99% on the Rotten Tomatoes.
It's crazy high. It's like 98.
Yeah,
99.
98,
Yeah,
99.
That's what the Forge is too right now.
Anti-review bombed. So like,
that's a very real thing.
Yeah,
it's a 10 out of 10.
It is very interesting to me.
It sucked. It was not good. Ugh.
This episode, I don't know if it was a filler episode or if it was a catalyst episode. If it didn't want to go into some of the other stories with Durin and this and that, fine. I would have just been fine with like a shorter episode. The episode didn't have to be an hour long. Honestly, in terms of like production, in terms of like the work being put into this show, like I'm seeing it and I'm seeing it pay off. The actors are all doing, I think, really good jobs with what they're given, and I don't even necessarily think what they're being given is bad for the most part. We've certainly come a ways from the I'm Good incident of 2022. like, I don't feel like, oh, my favorite movies have been besmirched or anything like that. Like, no matter what happens, we're always going to have them.
I can agree with some people who said that was their issue with this whole series, is that I can't connect with these people. They just talk about these big tasks and issues and all this grand stuff, and that's cool, but what about the characters? Like, I think the only times, to me, in season 1, where I can say I disagree with somebody was every time Elrond and Durin were on screen. I felt like they had the most close to human emotion.
Their bromance was
to
100%.
Yeah, their bromance, Durin and his father. Even right now with Durin and his father, that's the best emotional. Sauron, when I say Sauron's my favorite, it's because Sauron's cool. And the guy's just a great actor, and he feels eerie and dark and creepy, and I love that. But for character development, I think that hands down goes to those characters. But I understand why some people can actually look at the show and be like, not for me. It's
I'm still
kind of
working through some of the Sauron stuff. It kind of feels like part of me is having a hard time equating it to like Master Chief taking off his helmet.
I mean, yeah, I get what you mean. Like trying to like season 1 tried to make it like, is he really a bad guy or is he just a guy who's looking for love?
Well, it's not even that.
And also he wants to rule the world.
We've taken what was previously established as a nature that is very much a force of nature villain. A power to corrupt, an intangible form, an all-seeing eye. And we've put him in a literal, tangible, humanistic body. It runs the gamut of losing a lot of the mystique. This is a force of nature villain where what you think of him is almost scarier than anything he could possibly actually be. And the show's taking the risk of being like, it's this guy.
I think personally for me, I think it has paid off. And I don't want to say it's like the best thing ever. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I enjoy it. And I think the actor, fun fact, he had no idea he was playing Sauron. He just knew he was playing Halbrand.
He's doing a good job.
Well,
like I don't have complaints about the actors. A lot of crying scenes, just Machiavelli levels of crying this season.
Machia.
I can see how it might be laying some really important groundwork, but it's surrounded by scenes that I don't see having a lot of laid groundwork. There's laid groundwork with the staff and Bombadil and with Saruman moving out to find who we assume is Gandalf and who we assume is Saruman. There's this important groundwork being laid down, but it's sandwiched by things like the mud monster and the forest zombies, things that
and love interest
things
arcs,
that just
like
start
with Isildur
and stop
and the girl.
in the scenes that they started in. They end the scene they started in. Just these self-contained little events that almost didn't even really need to be there. If this had been like a 40-minute episode just focusing on Tom and the Stranger and the Dark Wizard hunting for him.
I think what would have been better, and then we should end the episode here because I want Richard to go to bed. I think the thing that would have been cool, imagine this. Isildur gets rescued by one of the Ents, the trees. Instead of meeting this random chick who's a part of the Adar tribe or whatever, blah, 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 and now she's found her husband, boyfriend, whatever. To connect the plot even more to Theo and Arondir rescuing him, they help each other. As in one of the Ents who's also lost or is in need of help, Isildur helps him in a way. And instead of having this stupid love arc that is so pointless. Granted, there's 4 more episodes and maybe she's like connected and it's so much deeper. There could be redemption. But I feel like that would have been a much more interesting, I actually can't wait to go back to this arc with Isildur and not this stupid love interest thing that's the stuff that I hate about Amazon Prime. With some of their shows, they have a lot of, like, if you actually watch Amazon shows, they even do this with, I kind of stopped watching it. I heard it got better, The Wheels of Time. There's some CW level quality to this writing, where it's like, do we need this soap opera, teeny bopper stuff. I'm not saying it's like as bad as CW, but it's like higher quality production CW with arcs that don't belong really in this
like
show.
How they almost go in
but
for the kiss and the guy shows up, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like this isn't terrible, but why does this kind of just doesn't match what the vibe of the show should be. That stuff to me kind of takes me out. I'm not saying love or romantic interest. No, that can stay. Like for example, Aaron Deere and the girl who I guess died. I liked their arc because I believed in their unforbidden or forbidden romance that they had with each other, the sexual tension. We literally were crying and rooting when they finally kissed after like 6 episodes of like all the sexual tension they had because we felt it, you know, we actually
she's dead now.
Liked them together. Yeah, but now she's dead. So that's great.
She's dead now.
But anyways,
Rip.
I do think overall this is, I don't want to say a huge leap compared to season 1, but it has improved in a pacing level, despite this episode having that same type of issue that season 1 had for its first couple episodes, where I still had a good time, but it was just inconsistent in some arcs, and this kind of brought back that feeling for me. But I'm excited, and I cannot wait for episode 5 with you gentlemen.
Yep. Are we watching?
Yeah,
Are we watching
I think it's
all of
gonna be
them
lit.
together? Is this what's happening?
The only one that you guys might have to do without me is on September 19th. I will be actually on a plane.
At this point, Joseph transitioned into talking about the television show The Chosen, but the transition was not to his liking, so he made me cut it out, making this the transition.
If you guys never have seen an episode, I'm not even being a shill. This is like
No,
literally
I actually heard it was
before-
really good. I
It's
I
so
usually
good.
like for shows to either end or for the ending to be in sight before I start them.
Well, you already know the ending.
I see.
No spoilers there. Jesus dies.
Apparently, I was at the airport with Dallas Jenkins. I never would have known had the person with me not pointed.
That's
them out.
right. You told me.
Yeah, she was like, "That's
told
Dallas
me about
Jenkins,"
that.
and I was like, "I had no idea." He was pretty much on his phone like the
Is
entire
he the-
time, which
Is
makes
he the
sense.
owner of the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah,
Who
I
is
was
this
confused. I
Dallas?
was like, "Oh, like a sports person," but the person pointing them out is not like a super duper sports person. So I was like, "No, it can't be that." Can you imagine if someone was watching that show and they were just like, "I don't really care for the Jesus character." Like they just liked everyone else.
I'd be like,
they're gonna be real bummed out by how the show ends.
I'd be like, how dare you? How dare you? That's the other thing that's cool
He's my
about the
least
show.
favorite
They
character. I
literally
like the
hire.
other guys, but
Yeah, the Jesus guy. I mean, he's kind of too nice. Don't you think?
It's kind of
A little
mid.
too
This
nice.
Jesus dude is kind of mid.
Jesus C
Kinda
tier.
mid.
And now for our thoughts on the Rings of Power, episodes 1 through 3 of season 2.
We're gonna do a timer for 5 minutes to talk about our
To talk about
thoughts real
3
quick.
episodes. Great, yeah.
Yep,
3 of us are
just
going to
our
talk about
overall
3
thoughts.
episodes in 5 minutes. F you.
Because this video is mainly for episode 4. That's
Yeah.
why
Okay.
I feel like if I do a 15-minute timer, nah.
Yeah. Yeah, rip.
I don't want to say yet that this is already better than season 1 because this is just the first 3 episodes, and I'm really glad Amazon did that because it gives us a sense of what the story is. I will say this, I think it has better pacing than season 1 so far. Least favorite arc so far, and I love them, is the Harfoots and Gandalf pretty much.
He's
It's okay,
got to
but it's
be.
not my favorite.
He's
It is
gotta
Gandalf.
be.
They're still saying the stranger or whatever. I don't care. He's Gandalf.
He's gotta be.
And honestly, the best scenes are with Sauron. He is the clear standout to me. And now that we know he's Sauron, they're just like getting it going. It's no longer this, ooh, what's really... It's like, no, he's Sauron. This is what he's trying to get done. And by far the best scene in this whole season so far is the opening. I thought it was well shot. I think the scope and the feel, it just, that's what Lord of the Rings should feel like, and I really hope they can make it feel like that for these next episodes, because it just felt like I was watching something that actually felt connected to the Lord of the Rings. And I liked how they used a different actor. It gave this real regal presence to Sauron and his power, and how you can try to kill him, but he will find a way to come back. I loved it. It was bloody. I almost questioned that the show was TV mature, but yeah, that's me.
I disagree with one major thing you said. I think the best scenes in this show still are with the dwarves. I think the dwarves have honestly kind of been the emotional beating heart of the show so far. The actor playing the Dwarven King is incredible in this role. He is turning in phenomenal work. Honestly, for all that people want to come after this show, you really can't fault the actors for doing anything less than great work in this. They're doing a stellar job. There are also several scenes in these first 3 episodes that take a lot of notes out of like the horror movie playbook. It's kind of bizarre. A lot of scenes where tension builds to silence and then something loud breaks the silence. It happened in the Spider Cave. It happened with Celebrimbor when Sauron just disappears and then the fire explodes. It happened, I think it... the orc in the Spider Cave where like, oh, is it dead? And then it wasn't, and then, it was again. And also, that orc died particularly gruesomely. One of the shots of the spiders hatching straight up looked like it was out of Alien. It had like 4 legs came out and were just like coming out against the eggshell. One of the characters literally says the thing. He says, "You will be the Lord of the Rings."
It's not as bad as I'm good.
This might have started back with the Hobbit movies. They are much more colorful than the original trilogy. The original trilogy is almost more, I don't know if muddy is the right word, but it's, and I don't know if grimy is the right word, but it's dusty. Colors are muted. It's a relatively bland palette. A lot of people's attire is like muddy greens and browns and beige. And in this show, they really go out of their way to make a lot of colors pop on multiple occasions, which leads me to probably my favorite scene in terms of the coloring. That was like the closest to how the trilogy felt. Were the White Marshes.
The feeling for me with it overall is like we're watching a car crash in slow motion. That's how I felt in every episode. Like the tension, the tension is so high. And everything is really, really spooky now.
You
like,
mean in terms of story? I thought you meant in terms of like the show, the production, not the
not
storytelling.
Like, it's great. No,
I feel like
it's
we're
great.
watching.
I mean, as far as like
I feel like we're watching.
It could have gone either way.
A 240 frame per second.
As far as
crash.
as far as the story goes,
funny.
right? Because we can see quite obviously Sauron's influence in the making of the rings. And so I'm like screaming at the show, like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, he didn't touch it directly. Like, what are you saying, Galadriel? Like, what are you saying? Like, it doesn't matter. He was there. He was instructing him. He was blah, blah, blah. And like, you see it, you know it. And it's like people are trying to act like they don't understand and so on and so forth, right? So it's doing really well in that department, in my opinion. Like, you're seeing people trying to trick themselves into thinking that them using the ring, won't be a problem. Oh, it's yada yada, so on and so forth. Oh, it was actually Sauron that was in here. It's no big deal. It's great seeing Sauron present himself as this beautiful messenger. He's basically like Satan. So I felt like that was incredible. Still, my 2 favorite characters are the same as last time. Durin and oh my god, now I forget his name. His friend.
Elrond?
Yeah, Elrond.
Elrond?
Thank you, Elrond. Yeah. It's like just seeing them hold down the fort, stand on business, as they say, like, and that kind of thing. The dwarves, I feel like I'd agree to a point, Tim, about like their things being a lot more heartwarming and also, to me, way more frightening because they're in the mines. And the lights shut off and also the kind of stuff and all the things that they used to be able to do with the light finding, I think they call it. Now they can't do it anymore. And they're just at a real sticky place where now Durin has kind of even changed his position. Like, look, Dad, you told me that, you know, us going this path may not be the right way. And now with everything that's going, I think you might actually be right. We might need to just let things play out naturally, because that gives me a bad vibe. So, I feel like I've been really enjoying it so far. I like the pace. I like the tension. I feel like it all makes sense, and I'm really curious to see what happens next. Just to hit very quickly on what you said with coloring, Tim, I'd say that it probably is incredibly intentional, because this is the time before the real bad stuff takes place.
Right.
Before evil just dominates and owns
times.
Everything. And
yeah.
So
that crossed my mind. I think the only thing that really bothers me with the horror element is that even in the horror moments of the original trilogy, like Shelob's Lair, it wasn't ever shot like a horror movie. But in this show, when it has those moments, it suddenly is shot like a horror movie. To me, one of the biggest jump scares in the entire trilogy is when Shelob stabs Frodo in Return of the King, and it's right in front, and it's right in front of you too. There's just no music. It's just right. It doesn't silent. Even sneak up on you. Either that or the eyes opening in the white marshes, but even that scene is not just suddenly shot like a horror movie. And now we're gonna shoot the breeze. Lord of the Rings is like part of the title for it. Was it like that before? Did it have Lord of the Rings in the title? Okay.
Yep.
All right, if you
longest
say so.
title ever. The Lord of the Rings.
No,
the Rings of Power.
It is not the longest title ever. The longest title ever so far goes to Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. That was the actual full title. Apparently the game's good. I remember playing a demo for it back when the 360 was the new toy on the block. Playing it like in the GameStop when you could play games in GameStop. I'm sorry.
Check.
Back in Electronics Boutique. My bad. Aren't those popcorn buckets like $50 each or something crazy?
That one was $35 at AMC. That was $35. This was like $20 at Regal.
Man.
Deadpool Wolverine was $30.
It's funny. Like, Dune is single-handedly responsible for collectible popcorn buckets. That's it's crazy that might be its biggest legacy.
No, it's making me want to do a popcorn bucket video, because that's actually in. Like, come with me as I go get this stupid popcorn. But yeah, it's like all over TikTok. Man. At least in the movie sphere, like you'll see somebody be like, "Come with me to Regal Theaters to get the new Batman 85th anniversary popcorn bucket."
All for the pop.
Yeah.
The popcorn bucket meta.
My favorite thing to do though is
the tier list of popcorn buckets. Hey Rich, want to see a magic trick? Want to see me light a fuse in slow motion?
Uh-oh.
Hey Joseph, how do you feel about IGN giving Joker 2 a 5?
Bro, I'm like, bro, what the heck is this? I'm excited, but I'm also tempering my expectations now. After reading those reviews, I'm like, okay, I cannot go in here thinking it's going to be an 8. I would love for it to be, but it might be like a 6. It might just be okay.
I cannot go into this with an open mind.
I wanted to be honest, I had this very much in the same level of excitement that I have for like Dune Part 2 or Gladiator 2. Shoot, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I'm freaking pumped. I am pumped for Jim Carrey to come back as Dr. Robotnik. I'm pumped as hell for that. Keanu Reeves as Shadow, like literally perfection.
It is good casting. It is.
It's so good. I'm rooting for it.
He's casted well as that character.
I think it's gonna make more money than Mufasa. They both come out the same day.
Oh yeah.
No offense to Mufasa. I mean, I'm gonna watch it, but Sonic 3 just looks better. It just looks a lot better, at least to me.
Sonic 3 looks better than Mufasa, Joseph Curtis. That's good.
I love Joker. I think it's a masterpiece. I might be that person who's like, it's another masterpiece, or it's a 7. I'm really hoping it's one. if it's at least a 6 or a 7, I'll be a happy guy. If it's a 5 for me, like IGN, that's gonna be in my top 10 most disappointing. I'm actually really rethinking titling my best and worst. Instead of saying worst, I'm thinking about just saying top 10 disappointing.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of movies that I have missed that are just like, it's just bad. Like, it's just super bad. Like Night Swim that came out in January. Didn't want to waste my time because I heard it was hot garbage. There's a new movie called Afraid about a house AI that's trying to kill the owners or something. Sounds terrible. I don't want to waste an hour and 40 minutes of my life.
You're a critic. Gotta watch.
I know.
Gotta watch the garbage.
That's why I watched Borderlands and I saved everyone some time. Oh, well, yeah, because it was in development hell for like years. And also, here's the problem. I already knew it was going to be bad. Eli Roth was directing it. Eli Roth is not a good director. The only good movie he made was, surprisingly, last year, called Thanksgiving. A really campy, fun horror movie.
I know what you're talking about.
Like, it was really fun. It wasn't good, but it was at least fun. Borderlands is
I was at a movie theater with my mom, and I can't remember where she went, bathroom or snack counter or something. I just remember I hid in the cardboard cutout for Thanksgiving until she could find me. But she couldn't find me. So I just had to start yelling to her from behind the Thanksgiving photo cutout.
It's like, it's a B horror movie about a dude dressed up as a pilgrim murdering people.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's like literally a guy dressed up as a pilgrim. I'm probably just going to call it disappointing because I feel like it's not accurate to say worse because some movies are like going to be 5s for me. And a 5 is mediocre. That doesn't mean 2. But I'm praying to God that's not Joker. Bottom line, I just pray Joker doesn't go in my disappointing. Because it could. I mean, I might walk out being like, that was boring. And, like, I don't know how they made Joker 2 boring with Lady Gaga in it as Harley Quinn. But that's what some people are saying. That it's like a courtroom
They just sing
drama.
country songs. That's it.
Oh, bro.
The musical is a
I'd be
country
down.
musical.
I don't remember people saying it was bad, like the first Joker. People would just say, it wasn't for me. And so I'd give it a 5.
It wasn't for
Other people are saying, like, this is just a bad movie. It's a 4 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially almost any movie a critic doesn't like isn't a movie for me, quote unquote. But, I mean, like,
I do get it,
there's
though.
even people out there who liked Alone in the Dark by Uwe Boll. They're maniacs. They're, like, well past borderline psychopaths, but they're out there.
Or The House That Jack Built with Matt Dillon. I had to stop an hour. It's basically about, the whole movie's about this guy and his retelling of all these women that he murdered. It's like a serial killer movie. And it's really graphic, and there's even an NC-17 cut. Ugh. I didn't even watch that. And I was just like, there are some movies that I genuinely question, like, why was this made? It's like the question people have for Euphoria, which I actually am a fan of that show. Some people think it glorifies sex, drugs for high schoolers. Where other people feel like sex, drugs, violence.
Oh, sex, drugs.
Sex, drugs. No. Which
no,
there
could
like, be.
What are sex drugs?
To each their own, but yeah, for me, where I draw the line is, I don't want to watch a serial killer movie to that extreme. I can watch serial killer movies. They're like Saw. I can watch Saw.
Yeah, you saw in a violent way. Is that what it is?
Oh, In a Violent Nature.
That
was. It's not for everyone. There are takes that last for 3 to 5 minutes of him just walking through the woods, and then it changes to night, then back to day, and it's just these long takes. And for some reason, it worked for me because we've never seen a movie like that. Like, we've always seen the high school kids' perspective, or the college kids, or the stupid dad that's like he's out of the shed by himself at 2 a.m. Like, we've always seen that, but now we see the killer and how easy it is for him to kill these people. So it like kind of makes fun of the horror tropes while also just being an artsy film, but not artsy at the same time.
Yeah, and everybody's talking about like, oh, and there's like this one kill that changes the game. Yeah. And I looked it up and I saw it. And don't get me wrong, it is gross. It is disgusting. It doesn't do anything to move the story along. Like,
oh no.
Nothing.
I would say though, like
story. It was one of those things though that even though it was gross, part of me was just like, this is actual cartoon logic. Like, it was so over the top. I was just
It was
like,
crazy.
this person was dead at the beginning of this.
How he turned her.
I
oh
know.
My God.
It was...
And also, she's the biggest idiot of all time. She could have just slid down.
I'll tell you what it is, Rich, and just bear in, like, it's a like, it was, yes, it's a live action, but it was like, it was almost like a Looney Tune come to life. She's like,
it's in my top 10 favorite kills. Top 10 favorite kills.
She's doing yoga.
It is.
Sees him coming, runs, starts to scream, realizes there's a cliff in front of her, and she just kind of like doesn't try anything, like doesn't jump, doesn't anything, doesn't just kind of stops. And so he's got this like hook attached to a chain in his hand.
Editor's note here. I know I don't get this description exactly right, but my idea remains intact and I still have the same feelings about the whole entire thing.
And he just grabs her shoulder, turns her around, hits her in the head with the hook, and she's dead right there. Like, the hook's in her head. Like, she's dead right there. No, this is what happens. He has the chain in his hand and punches through her stomach. Punches through her stomach like he's Vegeta. Punches through her stomach. Spins her back around and grabs the chain. So the chain is now through her stomach, up, and the hook that's in her head. And he just pulls it until her head comes through her abdomen. That's what it is. And it's
glorious.
It's mostly shown in like...
what?
Yeah. It's mostly shown in like extreme close-ups, so you don't see like her whole body fold in half. You just see like a prosthetic head come through a prosthetic abdomen. Good job on the prosthetics, but I was like...
Mm-hmm.
I was like, she was dead at the beginning. What's the... Like... if the goal of a serial killer is to kill, why keep going after they're dead? I don't know. I don't get it. It was just kind of the movie makers just being like, hey, look what we can do.
Dude, I wish I had your mind, bro. Where like I saw something and I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. And then the rest of it just doesn't really matter. It doesn't frighten me anymore because I'm like, oh, this is Looney Tunes. I wish I could do that, but I can't. Like, as soon as I would see anything, like I would be like, oh yeah, nah. Eyes covered, like everything.
Honestly, Rich, and I'm sorry, I'm not like trying to like gross you out or whatever. It's almost like your imagination probably would have come up with something worse, honestly. Instead, she got like Vegeta punched and hook-headed. That's what it was. I mean, it's gross. Don't get me wrong. Yes, it's very gross, and you'd probably hate the movie. I didn't even see it. I just looked up the clip on YouTube because everyone's like, "Oh, this one kill is so gnarly." So when I look it up, the autocomplete was like, it called it the yoga kill. I was like, okay. Does the movie do anything to say why this guy's a killer?
Honestly, I'm trying to remember. Like I said, I gave it a 6.
So the story's obviously like, not at the forefront of this movie, and it's not.
It's
the
really
movie's
not.
just a
like...
special effects exhibition.
It sounds very interesting from like a filmmaking perspective. I just know my regular brain, I could not handle it. But
I mean, it's gross. Don't get me wrong.
It was gross. It sounds fire. Like
it was gross. It was a very gross scene. It is gross. I mean, but sometimes just knowing the making of it can help alleviate it. I told my mom, I can't remember what movie it was, something, it had like a scene with someone's bones breaking, and I was like, and I looked at her and I was like, it's vegetables, Mom. They're breaking lettuce in a microphone. That's what you're hearing. They're snapping carrots in a very padded, isolated room. That's what Foley artists do. Most of the time, breaking bones, squishy flesh, blah, blah, blah. It's produce. It's people mashing their hands into cantaloupes and watermelons and breaking carrots and lettuce into the microphones. Yeah, mostly that's what it is. So shout out to Foley artists everywhere, making the world squeamish 10 times over. That's most
shout out VeggieTales, man. They're the real heroes.